Schizophrenia is an illness or a disease or a disorder, depending on how acute it is, where the way you perceive reality is different to most other people. And because you perceive reality differently, and it's not just hallucinations, but mainly that's it. So because you've had these hallucinations when you were younger, or you get them all the time, because you perceive reality differently, you also can conceive and you think about reality differently. So schizophrenia is a disorder where you not only perceive the world differently, your belief systems about the world are different to most other people. Now, I've spent quite a lot of time in the company of schizophrenics, and you hardly ever meet two that are the same. Schizophrenia is an umbrella term which encompasses all sorts of different delusions and hallucinations. The hallucinations can be of all five senses. There's also something called synesthesia, which would be another video. Um, Not all schizophrenics are paranoid. Paranoid schizophrenia and schizophrenia are different things. Personally, I was diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. When I'd been out of hospital for a few years, they changed that to treatment resistant schizophrenic. And what annoys me the most about society judging people with this illness is that somehow schizophrenics are violent and they're more likely to go out on a random killing spree, where it's not actually the truth. Um, Jack Straw years ago wanted to put a lot of paranoid schizophrenics in hospital for life because there had been a spate of stabbings outside hospitals, if you remember, a few years ago. But as far as I can tell, there's just as much risk of someone with schizophrenia being violent than any other cross section in society. Um, I don't want to talk about the details of my own illness because that would be another video. But yeah, the way a schizophrenic sees the world is fundamentally different to other people. And it may be just a slight hallucination, even if it's just hearing a little voice that keeps on tapping away. If that little voice stays there long enough and you believe it for long enough, that can change the way you believe reality operates, the way you perceive and conceive reality. Because, like I said at the beginning, if you perceive reality differently, then without fail, without doubt, you will conceive of reality differently. So, even just a tiny little voice, tap, 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 will change the way you believe the world works. Um, Lots of people hear voices, but they're not called schizophrenic. And there are quite a few people with full blown schizophrenia that haven't been diagnosed. I actually sort of know a couple of people that have got the illness, but they kept it to themselves. They didn't ask for help, and they coped with it without medicine. Um, we've got a whole there's a whole smorgasbord of medicine that they use for schizophrenia. And personally, I take one of the older antipsychotics. But yeah, schizophrenia. I might make another video about my own illness, my own schizophrenia, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. I might do. But the other thing about schizophrenia is if you can survive it. By survive schizophrenia, I mean not ending up in a jail cell for the rest of your life, or 6 foot under, or unable to function at all. But sometimes schizophrenia and cognitive impairment go hand in hand, unfortunately. But if you can survive the experience, you'll be a much stronger person. Than you'll be strong in a way that other people can't really understand. Schizophrenics can be very hard workers, and they can be very creative. But like I said, I've probably sat down and spoken to at least 100 people that have been diagnosed with schizophrenia. I've only ever met one person that had kind of like the same symptoms as myself, whose name I won't mention. Um, but yeah, if you can survive it, I mean, It's quite an achievement. I mean, I've had the illness for, what is it now, 27, 28 years since I started hearing voices. And I'm 47 this year. So, yeah, just because you hear voices doesn't mean everything's ruined. Okay, thanks.